the reason why I wanted to make this video is to bring our attention to a very sick false light program that is designed to keep the poor poor. And that program is actually seeded in the heroic story of Robin Hood, as many of our subconscious programs are actually seeded into us through entertainment, through fairy tales. And who are fairy tales aimed at, right? Fairy tales are aimed at children. All of these legend stories, these fairy tales, are all aimed at children, and within them, so it feels like there's so much magic, and we totally connect to them because the truth is we are magic, the world is magic, so that's why we connect to it as children. But in there they start to seed in all these subconscious programs. And when it comes to Robin Hood, well, what is Robin Hood heroic for? Well, it's heroic for robbing from the rich and feeding the poor. And obviously when we're watching it, he's absolutely celebrated his Robin Hood, right? So even though here we have a little bit of a conflict, right? Because also all of the subconscious programs that they put out there are conflicting to create confusion as well. So we've got the Bible that tells us, no, God says, do not steal. So God has these 10 commandments, right? And at the top of them is do not steal. It's interesting that there's do not satanically abuse on there. But hey ho, do not steal. So we've got do not steal, but yet we've got the Robin Hood heroic movie of this guy that does exactly that. He steals from the rich, he robs from the rich, and he feeds the poor. And obviously we enjoy it, right? As children, we're watching this, he's celebrated, it feels justified. Of course it feels justified. We think, hold on, look at those rich people hoarding all of the money, because that's how it's shown to us, right? Keeping the poor poor. So we feel like it's something that is good. In fact, when I was, I grew up in a family that was that would have been classed as being working class, poor. I was surrounded by that. I was surrounded by LAC programs growing up, so I started work when I was like 12 and a half because I wanted to be able to contribute to my family. And I worked at a supermarket called Jack Fulton's. And I used to, my mum and dad used to come in, the friends used to come in. I used to work on the tills. I used to literally give them trolleys full of food for the price of a spud. So apologies, Jack Fulton's, for that. But in fairness, they were poisoning us with the food, so who really was laughing, right? But I didn't feel guilty about that. I didn't think, oh, it's so bad I'm stealing. I thought, this is good. I'm helping my mum and dad. I'm helping my family. I'm helping the friends that are struggling. That's how I saw it, because I also had that program of Robin Hood. Right? I didn't realise it at the time, of course, as we don't realise our subconscious programming. That's how subconscious programming works. It's below our conscious awareness until it isn't. So let's really look at that program, because on the surface of it, it seems like light. It seems right. But when you start to really look below the surface, which is what we do on this channel, right? And we connect in to the energetics of it, we realize that it's an inverted program. It's a false light program, because really what that program tells us as we are growing up in any kind of poor family, working class family, it tells us that we are poor because of the rich. It tells us that the rich are hoarding all of the resources, and it is because of them that we are poor. So that then by default tells us that we are the victims. We are the victim. Now, if you believe that you are a victim, then by default you are powerless, because victims are powerless. So it's creating this victim and perpetrator narrative. And if we believe that narrative, which we do as children because it's programmed into us from birth, through these exciting movies like Robin Hood, right? So if we believe this, then we actually start to basically create that story, right? Because this is this is 101 dark force tactics, right? Strategy 101, division. Because if they create division between humanity, rich versus poor, black versus white, then nobody's looking at the real perpetrators, right? Because we're too busy fighting against each other. So it creates this split between the rich and the poor, and it tells us that we are victims. So by victims we feel powerless, so then we put all of our energy into wanting the rich to change to allow us to make a better life. So we are powerless. What that program also tells the poor is it tells you that being rich is bad. So this is really the deepest virus of this program, right? Because it also tells you that the rich are bad. They're hoarding all the resources, right? They're bad. They're the baddies. Rich people are the baddies, right? So if you believe that as a poor person, which a lot of poor people do because it's programmed into them, that is the message that is given, then no matter how hard you work, no matter how much money you earn, you are gonna spend that money. You are going to give that money away. When you look at a lot of working class people, right, and I grew up around this and I witnessed this a lot, when you see a lot of working class people, which, you know, I class myself as that, that's why it's my roots, right? But I am, you know, moving out of that. When you see a lot of working class people, they work so hard and they are some of the most generous people you will meet. They are always giving away, you know, my mum and dad were always giving away their money to other people in gifts and things, helping other people. They would give away, they would always help other people, right? They were so generous because deep down within that programming, when the subconscious believes that money is bad, that being rich is bad, then the subconscious, one of its main jobs is to protect you. And it's going to do everything in its power to do that. So it's going to sabotage you because it thinks that it's helping you. So every time you earn money, you're going to spend it. You're literally going to be repelling it. Think about it this way. Imagine that you're in a relationship with somebody and you don't like that person, right? You don't like them. Then you're going to start acting a certain way toward that person. If you don't really like that person, if you don't feel in alignment with that person, if they just get on your nerves and annoy you, then that's going to show in your interactions with them. You're going to start to repel that person, right? And that is the same with money. So if subconsciously you believe money is bad, and you believe having money is bad, being rich is bad, then you're going to be repelling that money away from you. So that program, robbing from the rich to give to the poor, keeps the poor poor. Most poor people stay poor. They work so hard all their life, but they never have any money. And I started to reflect on this in my own life. So whilst I vowed as a child not to work hard, because that was programmed into me, and to earn as much money as I could to create security, to be able to help my mum and dad, to help my family, that was really a driving force for me. I created a good career. I moved up the ladder. I was earning a lot of money. But when I reflect on my life, I didn't create financial stability. I always spent the money. There was always something that I was spending the money on. Yes, I had many experiences and stuff, but still, I didn't create any type of financial freedom. With all that money that I earned, I spent it, whether that was going out, holidays. I never invested. I didn't know how to invest. I had no idea how to invest because, we're not taught that, are we? Neither, right? And I started to reflect and realize, I've got a program here around money, and I have to really bring that into we have to bring it into our awareness, right? I've had to bring it into my awareness, and I am still dismantling that. I realized that I wasn't afraid of failure in my new business when I took a new direction. I was actually afraid of success. I was actually afraid of becoming rich, of receiving that amount of wealth, because deep down it made me feel like I was bad and I was wrong to have that wealth when other people are suffering. But that is not the truth. that is not the truth. So I wanted to bring this false light program into our awareness so that we could see how robbing from the rich to give to the poor is actually an inverted program, that if you believe that, if you buy into that, you are creating a powerlessness inside you, and you will continue to remain poor because you will not realize that you are not a victim. We are not victims. This whole society, this 101 tactics of the division, is to create a victim and a perpetrator, because it understands that victim consciousness renders us powerless. We are not powerless. So number one, we have to recognize we are not powerless. But yes, there is healing that needs to take place. We have to heal those subconscious programs, because boy, they are deep. And we start to do that. The first step to healing it is just simply being aware of it. As soon as you're aware of it, you've already started the healing process. And the how to heal the rest of it can come in. I mean, you can check out my Reconnect program, which is a completely deep healing of all these limiting subconscious beliefs, of all these stuck, repressed emotions that keep us stuck in a box. And you can get week 7 free actually in the description. But just acknowledging that allows us to heal. And I have a new vision. I've got a new vision that we can replace that with to help us transition out of that subconscious program. So how about, rather than robbing from the rich to feed the poor, how about we take back all that has been stolen from us? So just come with me a minute, just imagine this with me for a moment, because as we imagine collectively, as we dream collectively, we start to put that collective idea, that manifestation, into the energies of creation. And the more of us that collectively dream that, then we actually start to anchor it into reality. So just come with me. How about instead we take back all that has been stolen from us, that has been stolen from us, from the banks, from the mortgages, from the created market crashes, from the market fixing, from the blackmail of governments, from the funded and orchestrated false flag operations, all of the wars, 9/11, all of these things that has been done upon humanity. How about we take back all that's been stolen from the banks, from us, all that's been stolen from through our taxes? Imagine all of that wealth, all of those resources coming back into humanity. Imagine what, as a collective, then we could do with that money, how we could, just like that, completely restructure creation in a way that it serves all of humanity and all of creation. We could purify the waters. We could have free energy. We could make sure that all food was organic, and so much more. Just those few things would have such a massive impact on our health, on our well-being, on our stress levels, on our ability to step into our true power. Now, I really see this coming in. This has been coming in for me, this vision of all that's been stolen from humanity being given back to us to assist us to create this new earth with speed, ease and grace. It's been coming into me for the last couple of months, and it's really starting to come in strong the last few weeks as well. So imagine that with me. Imagine us taking back all that's been stolen from us. Imagine what we could do with all of the resources being returned back to humanity. Imagine how we can change the world in an instant. But I just have to say, forgot to add that then, when I say this, that doesn't mean we sit on our butts and do nothing and wait for that. No, because like I said before, we are not victims. We take responsibility for our lives. We take responsibility for the life that we are leading, and understand that it's within our power to co-create. We co-create with our higher selves, and in order to open up that channel and receive that guidance, we just have to go through we just have to be committed to our own growth and expansion, our own healing. As we heal, we awaken and we transform. And as we awaken, we heal and we transform. And as we're transforming, we are awakening and we're healing. All of those three things happen simultaneously as we commit to ourselves. So make a vow right now. Commit to yourself in 2025, but join me in this vision as well of all of those resources that have been stolen from humanity being taken back, and how we can just think about, just imagine, just dream about how we can use those resources to change the world for the better.